Today in this video I will guide you on how to get perfect layout for your choice. Most of the players don't know which layout option they should use. Today I will explain on both first, second and third layout. The first layout is good for both 3 and 4 fingers, you can even use for 2 fingers. Most of the players use the first layout option as default. Players use it, but they don't know how does the layout works. First layout option use for spray and perfect for fastest players. The second layout, use for both aim and fire. Many players don't use the second layout because it's hard to play. If you are too slow while shooting, I recommend you to choose the second layout. Second layout use aim move, you can touch everywhere on the screen to shoot. The third layout is for professional players. Most of the people that use the third layout are mostly Chinese players. They use to reduce the sprint and make their joystick size big. Now let's start with 2 fingers claw. Don't make your joystick to be big enough. And your sprint distance will be a little bit far from your joystick. Sprint distance is more important. You need to make sure that your sprint distance is not too far. Make your joystick to be around 120 to 130. Because using big joystick for 2 fingers will got you killed while pushing on enemies. Sprint distance is more important. You need to make sure that your sprint distance is not too far. Because you will lock of your joystick movement. Players usually use this setup when the size of the mobile phone is not big enough. The whole layout is based on the quick movement of the thumb. Not only beginners, some professionals like Jonathan also prefer the 2-finger claw thumb. In the 2-finger claw setup, the 2 thumbs are used to play and the mobile is held using the other 8 fingers. Place the important buttons that you use more often within reach of your thumb, such as the 2 fire buttons, the aim button, the joystick, and the sprint button. Make sure you can touch these buttons easily. Make sure your scoop aim should be a little bit big because you're using 2 fingers. Your scoop aim should be 150 to 160. Since you only use 2 thumbs to control, you have to rely on the gyroscope to control the weapon's recoil and crosshair. So you should keep the gyro's sensitivity high to respond quickly in any situation. You can adjust the sensitivity level for this scope and camera based on your phone. To play well with 2-fingered claws. Since you can't do multiple actions at once, you shouldn't play aggressively. If you want to push ranks, don't be too greedy when fighting professional players. Because most of them play this game with more than 3 fingers. Difficult to perform multiple actions at once. This feature allows PUBG mobile players to peek and aim while behind cover. But it's best not to peek in close combat and face-to-face combat. When using large scopes, such as scopes 3x and larger, learn how to use the gyroscope to control your weapon's crosshair and recoil. While using thumb controls. It also helps improve gyro skills. Then you can practice and become a gyro pro player when you play with 4 fingers and more. Practice hip fire and use this shooting mode in face-to-face combat. Try to keep the crosshair steady while using the jiggle motion to dodge bullets accurately. I'm playing 4 fingers, now let's change it for 2 fingers settings. Always remember every layout has his settings. Don't use 2 fingers settings for 4 fingers claw. When a newbie makes their way to the PUBG Mobile, they start learning the game with the provided default setting. It relies on your two thumbs to do all the work, which eventually fails to meet the standards as the players gain more skill. That's when you embark on the exploration of the 3-finger and 4-finger claw setups. Let's go over their differences. The 3-finger claw setup involves, you guessed it, 3 fingers, normally 2 thumbs and 1 index finger from either of your hands. With the default setup, you only use the 2 thumbs for every task: shoot, aim, move. But as you advance further and meet more respectable opponents, things start to change. You'll need to move around a lot in combat if you don't want to be a sitting duck that attracts bullets like a magnet. The best way to do just that is by using the 3-finger claw. We don't just randomly make a guide on the best 3-finger claw setting PUBG Mobile. While the 4-finger setup is used by most pro players, the 3-finger seems to fit well. The difference lays in the skill gap between pros and regular players, their reflexes, and hand-eye coordination. Here's why you should use the 3-finger claw setup PUBG. If your phone has a weak battery and you play while charging, not really recommended, then you'll have more space for plugging the dongle on the right side with 3-finger claw setup PUBG. Flexibility is of course another advantage. You can perform more actions than with the default 2-thumb setup, but not as difficult to handle as the 4-finger. Great for sniping. 3-finger claw setup PUBG Mobile gives you more space on the screen and the ability to jump and quickly retrieve scope. This also comes in handy in close-range combat. There's nothing fixed when it comes to acquiring the best 3-finger claw setup, since it's pretty much personal preference. However, getting some basic settings right will definitely go a long way. Place your index finger on the top left to take care of the shooting. Use the peek and open scope option. Increase transparency as much as possible, especially the fire button. You can remove the fire button on the right if it isn't necessary. Make the jump icon bigger. As we stated before, nothing is fixed. Feel free to adapt, change, and customize the settings to match your playstyle. It's normal for players to spend several days on ends to familiarize themselves with the claw setup. But once you're comfortable, you'll never go back to the default 3-finger claw sensitivity settings. While setting up your own controls, do not skip on the sensitivity and transparency. It can make a great impact on your gameplay by helping you aim better. Here are our recommended values. That's everything on my guide to the best 3-finger claw setup for PUBG Mobile. It's hard to say in the certainty of which is actually the ultimate setup, since everybody has their own styles of gaming. The setting that works for you may not for others. Now let's go for the third layout option. PUBG has gained popularity because of its stability to the player and the game. This claw setting is beneficial in close combat because of you. It allows you to utilize all 4 fingers that can help you perform different functions, such as giving movement, crouching, prone, firing, aiming, scope opening, and switching guns. Many famous players of PUBG Mobile use 4-finger claw settings. 4-finger is one of the most valuable settings that allows them to conquer their enemies. This setting is good for close-range fights, movements when firing, crouching and firing, scope opening and firing, increases accuracy, moving and controlling aim, peek and fire, and so on. That's all what I got for today. If you liked this video, you better click that subscribe button and press the bell icon. Thank you for watching, see you in the next video.